You remember what class was introduced in 2020, Simo? I've told you about it so many times. No way.
Death Knight.
Oh, no, it's Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter. Well, there's only like two. It's one or the other.
You got it wrong. So
they both start with a D. Come on.
Okay, so in 2020, Demon Hunter was added. Demon Hunter was released in a state comparatively to every other class in the game as the most broken class and the best deck we've ever seen in the history of Hearthstone. So good that 4 cards had to be emergency nerfed because the class was too broken. Your job.
Emergency nerfed.
Yes.
Wow.
In 24 hours. I'm going to show you how many cards am I showing you? 14 cards of Demon Hunter, of all of them released in their original state. And you're going to try to guess what 4 cards were emergency nerfed from Blizzard in 24 hours.
Ooh. Okay. All right, I like this. This is fun.
This, again, you have to take a step back here because this is 2020. So not all the cards were going to be like as broken as what you've seen recently, because some of the cards are just obviously not playable anymore, which is insane to say considering how disgusting the deck was. Just for the context as well, I believe in day 1, Demon Hunter had like a 70% win rate, which is
wow.
That's crazy. Egregious.
That's egregious. Yeah.
So, and I want to say,
did Death Knight have a similar trajectory, or did they like learn their lesson from Demon Hunter?
This is actually very interesting. Demon Hunter was released in a state where it was obviously extremely broken. The justification for that is that you want your new class to be very like exciting, very interesting. You want people to play it and feel good about playing it, right? What they decided to do with Death Knight was the complete opposite. They released it in a state that was underwhelming. So Death Knight didn't really get its opportunity to shine until about, I want to say like 2 months after its release. And honestly, it kind of shows the favoritism here because I feel like Death Knight didn't really get the chance to shine like Demon Hunter did.
I was about to say, okay, this is like, obviously we're already going off tangent, which is, typical in our videos, but do you think it's better if something comes out broken and they fix it or like rein it in? Or do you think it's better if it comes in bad and they have to buff it?
I'd rather, my logic is, and I've said this to a multitude of the devs, and I've been very vocal about this, they need to release cards in a state that they're playable and exciting. If you don't release it in a playable and exciting state, that means the game doesn't change. And for most people, I would argue that they want the game to feel different with every inclusion or every addition of cards. So with Demon Hunter in particular, being the brand new class added to your game, I would, even though it was disgusting, like we saw the cards come in a mile away and every reviewer is like, what are they doing? How are they releasing cards like this? Whatever. But it made a splash on the game, and it was a very important, I don't know if I would use important. It was very, very powerful. Like it basically was, you play Demon Hunter, you play Warrior, and that was like the game for like a month, which is fine because it's brand new and exciting. When you release Death Knight in the reverse, it's like, it doesn't make
now.
Yeah, it doesn't make a splash. It's kind of weird. We had this entire problem this last year where it felt like every single expansion they released just didn't really make a huge impact other than a couple of cards.
Right.
And then it feels like the game has been relatively the same throughout the entire year. And even though you can make the claim right now that the metagame is healthy and there's a variety of decks, a lot of those decks have been relevant for a very long time. And it almost feels like a lot of these new mechanics and potentially exciting archetypes just never really hit the way that we hoped because they're just not releasing them in a powerful state. We also have the big benefit of having a virtual format where we can nerf cards like this. So I'm a huge advocate in Hearthstone specifically to release cards in a state where they're very playable, and if they end up being too good, then nerf them. But I also could see the argument against it because you don't want people to craft these cards and then their whole deck is gone. It is kind of like a double-edged sword, but I think most people would agree with me that you want your cards playable rather than not. So
yeah, and I think from the content creator lens, and this is a unique perspective that you and I share specifically, is like it's way more interesting and like in terms of like, yes, okay, you say everything's broken, like, Demon Hunter's crazy. While yes, that's a problem, it's almost like a good problem because then people get excited like, ooh, Demon Hunter's crazy. I'm going to go play Hearthstone to see how crazy it is. Where with Death Knight, it's the opposite where it's like, oh, Death Knight's underwhelming. Well, that doesn't excite me to want to go play Hearthstone. So why would I do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I think we had this like unique perspective on it from like how like the community like receives that type of experience. It's interesting because like, and again, not to steal your video, but like with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's similar where if a new archetype is coming out and it's like blatant that the archetype is like busted as fuck, then it's like, okay, we know this is going to be a problem, but before it becomes a problem, there's that excitement of like, oh, it's going to be fun to play with cards like this powerful, right? Yeah. Or it's like, oh, how are they going to make cards like better than this, right? And then you get surprised. So I think Yu-Gi-Oh, even though we're not digital compared to, being physical like we are, I think we experience that same set of emotions.
Yeah, no, I think Again, I think the big agreement across every card game is like, please make this cards playable so we can actually change the game up rather than release them in a state. Because I'm sure, especially for you, right? Like you guys have the wild equivalent of your standard format. And when new cards come out and they're not playable, it's like probably like the worst feeling in the world. Because like, oh, I guess the game's going to remain the exact same as it was before this.
Right.
So like you don't get that excitement.
Anyway, we're like 10 minutes into this video and I haven't even looked at a card yet. Okay. So let's move along.
Reminder, your goal is to tell me what 4 cards you think were banned or not banned, nerfed in 24 hours. That's your goal here. Got it. Okay.
All right. Altruis, the Outcast. 3 mana, 3/2. After you play the left or rightmost card in your hand, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Ooh, that's a cool card. Neat because it's like it just triggers multiple times. Cool card. I like the design of it. Ban word. So okay, you're showing me the pre-nerf versions of all these, correct?
All of these are the base version they were released at. Yes.
Got it. Okay. I could see a world where this is like a bit egregious, but on first glance, this doesn't seem that bad because you are limited by what the left or rightmost card is. And like, even if you have the ability to fire it, you may not want to, is like what's going through my head. Okay. So put a pin in, I can see this getting out of hand potentially, but I'll put a pin in this one for now. I think this is like in my maybe could have gotten nerfed, but like on first glance, I think this is okay.
Okay. Cool. All right, here is
cool
your
card though. I mean, I like the design of it because again, like,
it was great.
We can't. You sound so happy. No, it's weird because like in our game, we can't really have cards that say like do thing based off the left or rightmost card, right? That's just impossible in a game like that. So it's cool to see a mechanic like that work. Whether or not it's broken or not is a different story. What the fuck is this word? Altruis?
That is correct.
Wow. Warblades. 3 mana, 2/3 lifesteal. 3 mana, 2/3 lifesteal. So drop this on 3, maybe kill your opponent's 2-drop, and then you get life back as a result. But you're taking the damage anyway, right? So like you would, well, it depends on what the power of the minion is. So you're
still taking the damage regardless, but you would heal back up depending on how much damage you're dealing.
So like, okay, if it's a 2/2, hypothetically, you would take 2, but then you lifesteal back up 2. So you basically don't lose any health.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, okay. That's what I was just trying to comprehend in my brain. Okay, I guess let me ask this. Does Demon Hunter, similar to Warrior, have like weapon buff type cards?
They don't have weapon buff type cards. They do have the ability to gain attack. That is an actual fundamental difference. Well, the reason why it's a difference is because with Demon Hunter particularly, they don't need a weapon to attack with their face. The weapon here is so you do get the lifesteal proc. The hero power, to remind you, is 1 mana, gain 1 attack for this turn.
Okay, so hypothetically, you could go up to 3 if you needed to. So if you play this on 3, maybe invalidate a 2-drop, then you go to next turn, you hero power, now you're at 3, you could potentially invalidate a 3-drop, and then you still have like the rest of your turn. Oh, it seems pretty good. I think my biggest issue is, I feel like if this card was really good, then maybe like the meta sort of like works around it that you're not going to play stuff that just like instantly dies to this, but maybe it's just like so aggressively statted that it doesn't matter. Okay. Because you did say, I mean, it was above the curve. So
I think every card I'm showing you here is above the curve, just for the record. Sure. So
yeah. I mean, three durability too is also kind of crazy that it lasts that long. Okay.
You don't have to give me an answer
like,
whether or not.
Yeah. I'm evaluating. If something like gives me a visceral reaction, like, oh, this has to be one of the nerf cards, I'll tell you. But so far, I'm like, okay, like I'm just feeling out what you're showing me here. Cool card. 1 mana, 2/2 demon, Battlefiend. After your hero attacks, gain +1 attack. 1 mana for a 2/2 with no downside, huh?
Yeah, I will say, not to sway your opinion here, in Descent of Dragons, which was the set before this, they just printed a vanilla 1 mana 2/2. Neutral.
And now this one has upside, and it has the demon tag, which I'm sure might be relevant as well.
That could be.
1 mana 2/2, and then so you could go turn 1, play this, or turn 2, play this, and then turn 3, play the... Oh, wait, no, you said the hero power is 1 mana, gain 1 attack, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So hypothetically, you turn 1, play this, turn 2, hero power. Then this thing becomes a 3/2. Is that permanent?
Yep.
Okay. This one. Out of everything you showed me, this one's giving me alarm bells to start. That seems like you get it out of hand.
Yeah. Very good 1-drop for the record. Very good one.
I was gonna say this seems out of I've seen a handful of 1-drops through all these videos we've done. That seems kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
For context, Flame Imp, which was released in Classic Hearthstone for Warlock, is a 1 mana 3/2, deal 3 damage to your own hero. Doesn't scale. It has the demon synergy. This one interacts with your hero and could potentially infinitely scale.
Right. I mean, great that it's 2 health, but yeah, it could theoretically. Okay. I think out of everything so far, that's the one that's giving me alarm bells. So I'm gonna put Battlefiend in our little chat here.
Okay. Here's the next one.
Chaos Strike. 2 mana. Give your hero +2 attack this turn. Draw a card. Need to check something here. Okay, Battlefiend does not scale off the attack. It's just if it attacks against the one attack, because that would have been absolutely fucking insane if that worked that way.
That card, yes, would have been so gross. Absolutely.
That would have been nerfed. I mean, it could have been nerfed already, but it would have been nerfed even faster if that were the case. So you could go turn 1. Well, you could do it anyway with your hero power with this, but your hero has more attack with this, and it cycles itself too. You could also pair this with the Warblades, which then means you have a 4 attack weapon with lifesteal. So that's not bad. The fact it cycles itself too is so stupid.
Yeah, this may not seem like, again, I'm not trying to sway your opinion.
I know. Yeah.
2 mana cycle is already like pretty decent in 2020.
Exactly. Right.
So
like,
the fact
that's just
that it
good value by itself.
Yeah, the fact that it interacts with multiple cards and gives you the potential damage is like extremely good.
Yeah. I actually think there's a world maybe they did nerf Chaos Strike just because of that. It's almost like too good. So, okay, Chaos Strike. Let's put that in here as well.
Okay, here's your next card.
Glaive Bound Adept, 5 mana, 7/4. Battlecry, if your hero attacked this turn, deal 4 damage. Good payoff for being aggressive if your hero attacked this turn. So the play here is ideally you have the Warblades on 3 or 4, so then that way you can attack and then Adept can come in and deal the 4 damage. The 4 damage could go anywhere, which is good. So if you want to go face, you can, but you can also just like stop your opponent's stuff. 5 mana, 7/4. Also, just like stat wise, that seems like very pushed and aggressive. Like for a card that already does. Is it? What's the? There's a shaman card that's sort of like this, isn't there?
Yeah. Fire Elemental at this time, I believe, is a 6 mana, 6/5, deal 3 damage.
Right, and that's just. But that's just. There's no condition, right? It's
no
just
condition.
3.
No condition. Yeah.
But still, like, it's similar, and that's what it reminds me of. And that card was very good, from what I recall. I don't know if this had to be nerfed necessarily. It could just be. It could just be an above average card, which it definitely seems like it. I think this may have been okay. Okay, let's see what else we got first, and we'll come back.
Okay, here is your next card.
Eye Beam. That's some art. 3 mana, lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion. Outcast. This costs 0. Okay, you're gonna have to remind me Outcast again because I do.
Outcast is when you play the card in its most left or right position in hand. So if you top deck it, it costs 0.
Similar to the. Got it. Okay. So if you either draw it for turn, or I guess you could. Okay, does it work if let's say you use the Chaos Strike? Was that what it was? If you Chaos Strike into this, does that still have the Outcast cost?
Yep. It'd be in your right most.
So it's not based. Yeah. Okay. So it's not based on like your draw, like the beginning of your turn or anything. Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Here's another question. If Eye Beam is the second to the left or right, and you play the far left or far right card, and now Eye Beam becomes the far left or far right, does this become 0?
Yep.
Jesus, that's
also
insane. Okay.
I might direct your attention back to the very first card I showed you.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I remember. Yeah, I haven't forgotten our little friend that deals damage based off of playing stuff from the left or right. So then theoretically you deal 3 to a minion, you lifesteal, and then that triggers the other guy, which then deals 1 to everything. And then this could cost 0 because of Outcast, and this is an epic, so you can play 2 of it. So hypothetically you can go like Eye Beam, and then that triggers the guy twice. Okay. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. Yeah, I can see why this would be annoying, especially if you're playing like aggro and you're like kind of just dumping your hand. Like you're always going to be able to most likely outcast this. So, okay. Does this card need to be banned though, or does the other guy need to be banned? Or nerfed, excuse me.
Reminder, there's 4 cards that were nerfed in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, okay, you don't have to give me your opinion right now. You can wait until the very end.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I'm trying to make a list of like things that are giving me pause.
Sure.
Versus.
For sure.
And now I have to reevaluate in the context of the other cards as well.
This class is very synergistic. So the more you see, the more you're going to start to realize how stupid some of this shit is.
All right, let's see the next one. I think that one could be a problem, but we'll see. Because if anything, if I've learned from us doing these videos while you send me the next card, is like mana reduction is like usually what gets a lot of these cards nerfed in some way.
I would agree with that.
Mana Burn. 1 mana. Your opponent has 2 fewer mana crystals next turn. What a unique effect. I don't think out of all the cards you've showed me, I've seen anything like this.
I'm going to say they have never printed an effect like this.
And they probably won't again. I could see this card being very toxic. Similar to, this is like the opposite of like mana cheating, right? It's like you're I won't say it's like you're taxing them, but it's like you're preventing them from even playing. What's the guy? Oh my God. I'm gonna show my age here.
Lotheb.
Thank you. That thing.
I already knew what you were talking about.
Right, exactly, because that's what this reminds me of. Like, obviously, Lotheb is way crazier than this. Don't get, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this card's also crazy. Because that affected like everything, and was almost like a turn skip in and of itself. But like this card is early on. This card seems just disgusting. If it's like turn 2 or 3, right? You're already like being super aggressive, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna mana burn you, and now they go into their turn 3 or 4 with half the mana. So now they're like way behind, and maybe they can't even play something, so it is a turn skip. And like if you're playing against aggro, like you just fucking lose. So gonna put that on the list of things that
the
might be a
list.
problem.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Here is your next one.
Big guy, imprisoned Antaen.
Antaen, I think is how you say it.
Antaen?
I'm actually not 100% sure.
I don't know why I'm asking you. 5 mana for a 10/6. Dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemies. Dealing 10 randomly. That's so irritating because, like, if they play this, then you know anything you play for the next 2 turns has a very high chance of dying.
Yeah.
So you just like, that's a good reaction. So you just like don't play anything because you don't want to lose anything and just take 10 face. Or maybe you play something that's like a death rattle that you don't care if it dies. Or like you try to trade and maybe like leave out some weak guys and then this thing just cleans them up. Wow, this card's fucking irritating.
Yeah, imagine doing a coin into this into another one. Good times.
Oh my God, I need to think about that. That's okay. Dormant question. How many types of cards can interact with Dormant?
Like,
God, is there a Black Knight for Dormant cards?
No, there is not. I will say when I can't speak for like current Hearthstone, there might be something that interacts with it. But during this time, this was the first expansion where Dormant was added to the game, and there was no way to interact with it. Once the card is on board, this is it.
Awesome game design. Yep. Fantastic. How is there no counter to Dormant at all? That's insane. Wow, this card's a fucking asshole. That just seems so annoying. Because I'm trying to think like what the counter plays against this, right? It's like, okay, they play this and it's like, what do I do? Like, if I play stuff, I just lose it all. If I don't play stuff, I die. So it's like a lose-lose situation. They had to have nerfed this guy. Okay. All right, he's going to the list.
Okay.
It just seems insane. Like, what's the counterplay?
You know what? Like, I mean, I'll go through every card at the end of this video.
I bet you will.
So you can understand everything. But yeah, I would, that card was fun. Smile. Here's the next one.
And it keeps going. Kane Sun Fury. Cool name. 4 mana, 3/5 with charge. Charge can go face. All friendly attacks ignores. Oh, good. We're just ignoring keywords now. Who needs mechanics when we can just ignore them? Has there ever been another card that does this?
Nope.
Okay. I wonder why.
This is a Demon specialty.
That is, oh yeah, it's specialty. That's a fucking word for it. Oh my God. So like when you're trying to like not get aggroed, it's like, oh, play this.
This card. Like, okay, so far, I'll just be honest. So far, I'm not gonna tell you if this card was nerfed or not, of course.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Emotionally, this is the worst card on this list.
I imagine this card seems so frustrating.
I think Altruis has definitely a like a competition with Kane though, because Altruis was disgusting because it's like you don't really have a top minion after they play every card in their hand. But ripping Kane off the top into lethal, oh my God, kill me.
Well, because it's like it just invalidates everything, right? It's like, oh, okay, I'm doing this defensive play, and then all of a sudden you play this. It's like, oh, that doesn't matter. You're dead. Like, okay, so you got punished for what? Your opponent drawing the right card? That's not fun.
Yep. Okay, so you're putting this on the potential list that was nerfed in 24 hours.
Yeah, so I have the potential list. Yeah, he's definitely going up.
All right, we're at 5 cards. There was 4, so let's see how we continue going. I got 5 more cards to show you.
And I imagine you have a lot to say about these. When we
I got my manifesto on the other monitor.
Oh, manifest. I might need to get popcorn for that. All right, Warglaives of Azeroth.
Yep.
5 mana, 3/4. After attacking a minion, your hero may attack again. Of course, because why not? Right? Because why can't he attack again? Sure. It is expensive though. It's 5 mana, so like that's the thing. So basically, this is a potential 5 mana board clear. Yep. If you're okay with your hero just face tanking all the damage, but
I feel like here's what I'm gonna do for you. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm gonna change the order of cards I'm gonna show you here because I feel like this card is extremely relevant for the rest of the class.
Sure.
So keep in mind that's Warglaives of Azeroth, right? Great, great card. Great card. Don't get it twisted. All right, read this card real fast, just so you have a better idea of what we're going through.
Is this one I'm evaluating?
This one, this is one you're also evaluating. This is on the list.
Oh, you just changed the order. Got it.
Swap the order.
Twin Slice. Oh, great. It's 0 mana. That's already a great sign. Give your hero +1 attack this turn and add second Slice to your hand. Oh, awesome. So then it gives another 1 attack for 0. So you can combine these, and now you have 5 mana, 20 attack worth of damage.
Fun fact for you, when you play Twin Slice, the second slice goes to your most right position in hand. Just so you're aware, just so you understand.
Oh, interesting. Huh, okay, yeah. How convenient, how convenient. It's like they planned for it. Huh. This is dumb. I can see why this is dumb. Yeah. Okay. This is like when you read Tier Element for the first time.
Yeah, this is our Tier Element. This is actually what it is. This is 100% what it is. Do you think that Warglaives of Azeroth and or Twin Slice was on the list potentially to get nerfed in 24 hours?
The one thing with the Warglaives, it's like it costs 5, so like that's kind of a lot. Like, yeah, you could coin it on 4, I guess. The fact it costs 5 is like 5 mana for like a board clear at the cost of your life. That like, okay. Sure, like that doesn't seem like insane. Like I don't know like what the going rate is for board wipes at this point, but like whatever. Yeah, so I feel like Twin Slice is more problematic than the Warglaives, at least like on evaluation here.
Sure. Yeah,
because like it makes the 1-drop huge. Because then if your opponent can't answer it, like that's a problem. You can pair that with the other Warblades potentially if you wanted to. You can hypothetically just use that for the Glaive-bound Adept to trigger as well. So there's that. Like, there's a lot of uses for that card. And so it's like, the fact it costs 0 might be, like, too generic. And, like you said, it goes to the right-hand side. So, like, basically, this is 2 free cards for the first legendary to, like, start burning your opponent to death. And if you have 2 copies of this, then that means you have 4 cards. So you go 0, 0, 0, 0, and then you pinged everything for 4, and your hero has 4 attack. Oh, my God. Okay. I'm putting it together. I'm putting it together. That or I'm too deep in the tank. I don't know which one yet, but
okay, you're adding Twin Slice. Okay, here is your next card. I think I've shown you this card before. I could be wrong, but here you go.
Skull of Gul'dan. 5 mana for draw 3 cards. Outcast, reduce their cost by 3. 5 mana draw 3 is like a pretty going rate for a draw 3, right? Because it's like 3 mana for draw 2, and then it's like 2 mana for every extra card.
Let me think. Nourish would be 5 mana to draw 3, or you get to gain 2 mana crystals. So that's probably your best comparison here.
Okay, so that's about the same.
About the same. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, reduce their cost by 3. My issue with this is that this card itself costs 5. Because, like, it could be fine. If you're playing, like, more of, like, a mid-rangey deck, that might be okay. But if you're going, like, full aggro, I don't really feel like you have the opportunity to, like, play this for 5 and, like, kind of take a turn off. Now, what you draw might be reduced to 0, and then you can just go crazy. But it's not a bad card. Like, none of these cards are bad. It's just, like, in the context of, like, man, but you're possibly reducing up to 9. So it's like you're paying 5 to get 9 mana for free, essentially. So it's like you're getting a 4 mana discount. But the problem is it's like you don't know what you're going to draw. So the things you draw might not be like the things you want. And so the reduction is good, but if it doesn't get you to what you need, like I said, you're kind of taking a turn off if you're playing like aggro. That one's tough because like the reduction on that could be crazy. And like maybe you don't care about taking the turn off and you kill them next turn because now you've outcasted like everything. And then it's like, or sorry, you reduced everything because you outcasted this card, right? And then you go... Everything costs 0, so then the first guy just burns your opponent and just kills them, basically. Because everything's free at that point.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, maybe that Altruis card is kind of a problem. He's kind of a... Maybe. All right, I'm guessing you're not
let's see the next one. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go back to it, but like I'm not convinced enough to put it on the list yet. But mana reduction, maybe I'll put it on the list. Mana reduction is always like a big thing. Skull... All right, what's next? We have Blade Dance. 2 mana, deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemies, huh?
Yep.
And there's no downside.
Nope, you just gotta pay 2 mana.
You just pay 2. That's the downside, I guess, right? It is minions, I guess, so it doesn't go face, but like, what the fuck? Okay. So at minimum, you can pay 1 for your hero power to deal 1. At that point, you're paying 3 for 3. But then anything else, the more if you twin slice, you go up to 2, and then you're paying 2 to deal 6 to things. God,
isn't that great? Not great.
Well, like the amount of removal that this class has is crazy, it seems like.
Oh, it's not just removal, it's efficient removal.
It's efficient, yeah. It's not even bad removal is the thing. Yeah.
I was gonna say this scales with your weapons attack as well. So Warglaives
right, exactly. So
is a consideration here.
Right. So if you go like Warglaives into Twin Slice into this, you're dealing 15 to 3 random enemies, I guess. Or 5 to 3 random enemies. Can it pick the same minion twice? Like, does it go like bam, bam, bam?
No, it has to.
Oh, it's all at once.
It's all at once. It's all at once. Yep.
Okay, so it's still a board wipe, but depending on what they have. The only thing with this is that it does depend on your opponent. I'm sorry. It depends on you having a reasonable amount of attack to do this. Because what's like the efficient rate to do this at? 1 attack, probably not worth it. 2 attack, maybe depending on the board, that's fine. 3 attack is where I think this gets like a bit ridiculous. Okay. And where is it? The first weapon was just a 2.
Yeah, it was just 2.
Yeah, it was a 2. So like, I feel like unless you weapon plus Twin Slice, or you just have Warglaive, I feel like that's when this gets... And it's crazy, because then like you have Warglaive plus Blade Dance. That's like absolutely insane. I'm tempted to say no, though, because it is still conditional on you having attack. Okay. And like, granted, that doesn't seem too difficult. It is like a contingent thing. So I'm going to not put this one on the list, even though I think it's very good.
Okay, here is your very last card.
Can't believe we're already at the end. Crimson Sigil Runner. 1 mana, 2... God, we have more just insane 1-drops. Awesome. And it draws like... Oh, even better. This is stupid. This is just absolutely stupid. If you had like showed me this stuff like before, I don't think I would have like grasped how like ridiculous this is. But now that we've been doing this for like a couple years now, like this is insane. Like this, like I understand more now, and it's like, wow, this is just stupid.
Yeah, this card was definitely a card of all time.
I bet all these cards were cards of all time. Unless you threw some in here that are just like bad just to mess with me, which you probably did. God, it's crazy too, because they're all so cheap. So from like the outcast perspective, it's just like outcast, 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 and then just... Geez.
Imagine playing this on your leftmost hand or top decking this on turn 1, and you play a 1 mana 2/1 draw a card with no downside.
I know, no downside. Like that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
So that's where we're at. Warlock did have a card called Cold-Blooded Librarian, which was a 1 mana 2/1 draw a card, but it also damaged your hero for 3. 2. So,
I mean, that's still, you'd still play that.
Oh, it was, that card was one of the best 1-drops of all time in the game. No, like no questions. But this is like the comparison.
This is like slightly nerfed, but like it's still really good, all things considered. Especially if you're like if you're just emptying your hand anyway, like you're almost always drawing a card with this, I imagine. Oh boy, man, I gotta pick 4 out of these. These are all insane.
Wait, so is Crimson Sigil Runner getting added to the list? Just so
I mean, if I put Battlefiend on there, I feel like I probably have to put this on here too, because it just replaces itself. It's so stupid.
It's very good.
I guess the scaling on the other one's a little bit better. I'll put it to the list, and then we gotta reduce the list down.
All right.
Okay, so for the audience, do you wanna let them know what the list looks like?
Yeah, you have Battlefiend, Chaos Strike, Mana Burn, Antaen, Kane Sun Fury, Skull of Gul'dan, Twin Slice, and Sigil Runner.
And honestly, after seeing all this, I'm tempted to put the first guy on too, because now I realize how easy it is to just like burn everything into the ground. Okay, so now the question becomes, how would I nerf these? So like Altruis, maybe they made him 1 mana more expensive, so you don't just get to play him on 3. Maybe they made it that it only deals damage to minions instead of enemies, because I could see that. I could see it being very annoying. It's like you go Altruis, dump your hand, and they're just dead. That could be annoying. So I guess I'll put Altruis on the list too, because now I have to narrow this down now.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. I'm gonna just yap while you're doing this. Just so you know.
Start yapping.
Just so you know. During the release of Demon Hunter, there was only 2 playable classes. One was Demon Hunter. The other class you could play was Warrior, because Warrior was the only class available to gain enough armor to defend yourself against what Demon Hunter was doing. And
well, yeah, when you can't taunt up, yeah, I wonder.
It was it was also the only class in the game to actually have a tempo swap maneuver to actually put pressure on the Demon Hunter.
How so?
Because what Demon Hunter, so there was a card called Risky Skipper for Warrior. I think I've showed you before. It was a 1 mana 1/3. Whenever you play another minion, deal 1 damage to every minion. There was a card called, I want to say Blood Reaver, like Ogre or something. I forget the full name, which was cost 1 less for each damage minion on the board. And that had Rush, and it was like a 6/8 or something. You were able to play a bunch of minions, destroy their board, develop minions behind it, and put pressure on your opponent while gaining armor with Armor Smith, which is whenever a friendly minion takes damage, gain 1 armor. I was, by the way, the meta I hit rank 1 legend in. because I played.
Okay.
I only played in Rage Warrior because I fucking hated Demon Hunter with an absolute passion.
That's funny. So this was a vendetta for you, is what you're saying.
Oh, I do. This is what it all. If you ask anybody, like even now, like I think Demon Hunter is the biggest atrocity this game has ever seen. I can understand why they added it because obviously it's cool to live this fantasy, but every time Demon Hunter is playable, I want to die. Like it is. It is so like when they're the best class in the game, I feel like the average Hearthstone experience is just worse because of what they're doing every time.
Sure. Okay, I think I've narrowed it down a bit. I think I've picked a couple that I'm going to say got nerfed. I think the imprisoned guy got nerfed because okay, from a Yu-Gi-Oh player perspective, I'm just trying to, like, granted our games end in one turn, so this is not exactly a fair comparison, but I'm trying to think about this like an old Yu-Gi-Oh. And if there was a card that was like, okay, over the next 2 turns, everything you do is just going to be invalidated. I'm just trying to think about, like, how is that fun? And there's no way to interact with this card. So basically your options are you need to kill the opponent or do nothing for 2 turns. Otherwise, everything you do is basically like a loss, right?
Yep.
And I just like, that just seems so fucking frustrating to play against that I can't, like, everything else so like aggressive and everything. And it's just like, you drop this and it's like, what do you do? Like, you can't do anything. Like, it's just, it's a lose-lose situation. Like, I don't know like what the answer is. And maybe there is an answer to this I'm unaware of. Like, it's like you said, you armor up if you're warrior, right? Okay, great. Like, that's all you can do. I think they nerfed him. I also want to say, like, the more I talk about it, I want to say that they nerfed the first guy you showed me. Because when I talked myself into, like, how would they nerf it, and if I say they would not go for enemies and just go for minions, I feel like that would balance it a bit, because then you can't just, like, die from burst damage, right?
Okay.
Because you can already go face with Demon Hunter. So it's like, there's a world where you go, like, he's out, you go, like, twin slice, twin slice, twin slice, twin slice. So that's 4 burn. And then whatever else, depending on how much mana you have. And if you already have a weapon, you just go face and just, like, kill them basically from, like, 10, 12, 14. That just seems, like, obnoxious to me. And so if you change it so that it only goes minions, they can't technically do that line as easily because, like, the burn damage doesn't go face then. Yeah, I wasn't initially going to put him on the list, but I think after seeing everything, I think there's too many free things that, like, they had to nerf him. So what was his name?
Altruis.
Kane's really annoying, but I feel like I don't think they would nerf him.
Okay.
Because, like, how do you nerf a card like this? You could, what, make it more expensive? You could make him, like, a 5-drop or a 6-drop, I guess. You could not give him charge. Like, you could give him rush instead. Because I feel like you can't really get around the ignore. Like, how would you nerf that? Would you say, like, everything you played this turn ignores taunt, but then that card sucks. I don't know if they nerfed him. Like, it's hard though, because it also just invalidates ways to play against the deck. Because like you said, it goes back to warrior, like armor being the best solution. Twin slice seems insane just because it's like 2 or 4 free things that just like proc too many things.
I would 100% agree with that.
Like, there's so much that after you've showed me this, that this enables, and it's free on top of it. Like, if it cost 1, it's way different. And honestly, it might suck then. But the fact it's 0, and when you factor in Outcast and you factor in like a million other things, like the weapon synergy, like there's so much that this card just offers that I'm almost tempted to say that's going to be my 3rd one.
Okay.
Mana Burn's annoying, and I can see that being like a very anti-fun card. Because it costs 1, right?
Costs 1.
It's 1 to your opponent, doesn't get 2. Like in the early game, that's so annoying. And you could also have 2 of it and Mana Burn them twice, and then they don't have 4 crystals, and then you actually just want to jump out of building at that point. Because it's also, I'm trying to think of like what you've told me about, like, you know, Blizzard design philosophy and stuff, and it's just like, that seems like such an anti-fun card that I'm kind of surprised they printed it in the first place. It's not like land destruction or like mana crystal destruction, but it's like, for a turn, it kind of is. Yeah,
I 100% get what you're saying. Yeah, they've never really printed anything like that again. That's kind of
Yeah, I'm shocked. Okay, I'm gonna put Twin Slice on the list.
Sure.
What the hell do I pick for my 4th one? I keep going back to the skull, man, because it's like, how would they nerf the skull? Maybe their Outcast reduce it by 2 instead of 3. Maybe they make this a 6 cost. Because I keep thinking that paying 5 for this is like not good, but unless you're like in the right deck, then maybe it's like insane. Because then like you're not, if it's not aggro, let me get out of the aggro mindset. If you're not playing, because you said tempo was like the way that they played this too, right?
Yep. Tempo was the way to play.
So if you're playing like tempo Demon Hunter and you play this, like this card's fine in a tempo deck, but in aggro, I don't think you would play this unless it's like your stuff is so cheap that you don't care anyway. And everything you draw is just gas. So like maybe it is still fine, but 5 just seems so expensive for this. But I'm going off the philosophy of like the mana reduction stuff, and that's like what makes me like the most nervous with that card. I guess I-Beam also has a mana reduction thing, but like that's just one card. I think that's the only mana reduction stuff. You know what? I'll go with the Skull. We're not going to be here all day. I'll go with the Skull. Even though it's like kind of like against my gut, I think because I'm just going with the mana reduction thing. I think it's maybe too good.
Okay. The way I'm going to do this is I'll just go through in order of the cards I've shown you. Okay. And then I'll just
right, so for the record, I picked Antaen, Altruis, Twin Slice, and the Skull.
Okay. So Altruis the Outcast at 3 mana was maybe one of the most egregious cards I've ever seen. And after you've seen basically what Demon Hunter wants to do, it ended up being probably the most, I don't want to call it win more, but probably one of the best win conditions in the entire deck. Altruis was not nerfed in 24 hours though, but eventually he was nerfed a month, I want to say a month later, from 3 mana to 4 mana. And they gave him one more stat for each attack. At 4 mana, the card was still very good.
That doesn't surprise me.
At 3 mana, I want to say, I don't know what they were smoking in the offices, but that card is like, his voice line haunts my dreams. Like he was played soft. Like you knew the game, like you could take a step away from the computer because you knew probably the game was over. But he was more of a symptom rather than the fundamental problem of what Demon Hunter was doing. But the card was absolutely insane. Like don't get it twisted.
So was nerfed, but not in 24 hours.
Not in 24 hours. I want to mention, by the way, for every card I showed you on here, they were all nerfed except for one card, which I will get to when we get there.
That is insane.
Every card was nerfed. Okay. Warblades. Warblades was a card that was nerfed in 24 hours. The problem with the problem with Warblades is that you were getting too much tempo from this card without losing any life. The problem with it was if you end up going to a race and you have all this way to stack your damage, you're getting so much life gain that you could just ignore whatever your opponent's doing and keep hitting him in the face. And then also if you're going in a mirror match, whoever had the Warblades just won because you're gaining life while your opponent isn't. And then you're able to develop behind it and have such a health advantage over your opponent. So they nerfed it to 2 durability instead of 3. The card was still very good afterwards for the record, but at 3 durability, the card was very, very gross. Very gross. Battlefiend was arguably the best one drop we've ever seen in terms of just for aggro. I think you can make a case that Kobold Librarian, the one that drew you a card earlier, was maybe slightly better in the right deck.
Sure.
Battlefiend ended up being one of the most annoying cards of all time. And honestly, would win you games if you just had it and your opponent didn't have you an answer. It was really reminiscent of, if you remember Undertaker, which I showed you like a couple videos ago. Like you kind of needed to kill it relatively quickly. Otherwise the game was over. It would do so much damage over the course of 3 turns. It was nerfed, but not in 24 hours.
Okay. I almost picked it.
The change they ended up making was that it went down to 1 attack. And that card was still fine, but that 1 damage was not. The 1 damage is actually a pretty big deal because then you have to wait a full turn just to go back to what it was before. Chaos Strike at 2 mana was completely fine. It was not nerfed whatsoever. Very good card in the game.
This is the only card that wasn't nerfed.
Oh, sorry. You know what? Actually, I made a mistake. 2 cards were not nerfed in this. Chaos Strike, I completely forgot about it. Chaos Strike was just a really good card. I mean, there's nothing else to say here. Like, it was just good. Cycled, gave you damage. Glaive-bound Adept was nerfed, but it was not nerfed in 24 hours. This card, I don't know. I didn't show you the 2-cost weapon that Demon Hunter had available to it because obviously I don't want to show you every single card. But it was very easy with Twin Slice to have this activated on turn 5. And it was one of the best cards to drop on turn 5. If your opponent went Glaive-bound Adept into Glaive-bound Adept, it was miserable to fight against. I-Beam. This card was nerfed in 24 hours. Your intuition was correct.
I was close.
Your intuition was correct. At 0 mana, it was disgusting. It allowed you to get so ahead on board while also gaining life. It interacted very positively with Altruis, which was one of the bigger deals of it. And majority of the time, this card was 0 cost. So 0 mana, deal 3 damage to a minion and gain life from it was obviously disgusting. The way they nerfed it was to make the Outcast cost 1, and that is a hard 1 cost. So if you do discount it, it will still cost 1 if it's in your left or rightmost side of your hand. But disgusting.
It's interesting how so far both cards that you said got nerfed in 24 hours are lifesteal cards as well. Just an interesting observation.
A lot of it came down to because Demon Hunter didn't have a drawback. So like if you like, if I can't deal with your minions, the way I would answer you is go face. But if you're just getting all your life back for free and developing past it, like, what am I supposed to do against you? Mana Burn. Mana Burn was not nerfed whatsoever. This card, a lot of people have the same feeling towards you, or as you had, where it's like, it's really annoying to play against. But the problem with Demon Hunter is their card quality is so high that you don't need to run a card like this because you could just kill them.
That's so
card,
funny.
yeah, I don't think this card ever really found like a home. There are situations where you can play this and stop your opponent from developing or potentially playing their quest or whatever you may want to do. But for the most part, like the biggest thing about this card is that it costed a card in your deck and you'd rather play something else instead. Imprisoned Antaen, you were right.
Come on.
It was nerfed in 24 hours.
Yes! Oh, thank God. I got one.
I can't tell you how disgusting it was to go coin into this and to play a second one. The game was over. Like, you're not winning.
Yeah, like, you're not winning. Like,
there's nothing
this
you can
card
do.
is so stupid. How did they nerf it?
They ended up making it go to 6 cost, and 6 mana is actually a really big deal, of course, because it's 1 extra turn you got to wait, but it's that additional 6 mana you have to spend on, or the additional mana you have to spend on it.
Sure.
Now, 1 turn delay made it not great anymore. And again, it kind of fits the same philosophy as where Mana Bird was, where like the card quality in Demon Hunter was so strong that you did not want to play this anymore. Like, it was crazy. Now, that being said, for that brief time where it was 5 mana, I don't know how this got past testing. Like, I could forgive Warblades. I could forgive I-Beam because maybe you just don't see how strong that's going to be. But this card, like, I do not know what they were thinking with this one. This one was egregious. And yeah, they nerfed it pretty obviously in 24 hours.
That's the card I had like the biggest visceral reaction
I
to.
think
like this is insane. That's unbelievable.
It was, I couldn't believe they, I don't know. There's no words. But anyways, you can say that's for a lot of these cards. Kane Sun Fury was not nerfed for a very long time. This is a card that was, you know, people were very obviously emotionally, you know, you got despair from it when your opponent top decked this, when you have a wall, whatever. But for the most part, like, again, because of the powerfulness and the overall card quality that Demon Hunter has in other cards, this was not near the top of the priority list. Kane at some point was nerfed. He went from a 3/5 to a 3/4. I don't remember when that was, but it wasn't like immediate like a lot of these other cards that you're seeing.
I'm impressed that's all they nerfed was just his health by 1. That's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think he was necessarily a problem though. Like he definitely was on the verge of being very like annoying, but you know, emotional, if you take away the emotions besides, like he's fine. I'm saying that in as someone who despises the card because like you would build a wall and die, but I think like maybe it's because I'm just so used to just dealing with other bullshit this class had that he wasn't that bad. But
that's fair.
When he was released, a lot of people were like, holy fuck, like what are they releasing this card for? Warglaives of Azeroth ended up being a really good card after some of the other stuff was nerfed, and the synergy it had with Blade Dance and Twin Slice was not to be understated whatsoever. The card was very good, and it interacted very positively with other cards it did not show you. There's a card that says it's a 3 mana 4/2 whenever your hero attacks, summon a 2/2. So if that card lived and then you ended up playing Warglaives, not only are you clearing your opponent's minions and dealing damage, you're also summoning a whole board, and that was disgusting. It was increased to 6, and then they ended up nerfing it back to 5 or buffing it back to 5, but they reduced the durability. That was the change the year after. Good
Come
card.
on, Twin Slice. Come on.
Okay, Twin Slice is so funny to me because, okay, first of all, I'm gonna crash your hopes and dreams here. This card was not nerfed in 24 hours. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know why this card didn't get nerfed in 24 hours. This is another card where you could look at and genuinely ask yourselves, what the fuck were they thinking? Obviously, this has so much synergy with Demon Hunter, and it might be just in general the most powerful card in all of Demon Hunter because of just how well it synergizes with everything. The funny thing is that when they did decide to nerf it, because what they decided to do was increase the cost to 1 but give you 2 attack, and the same thing with the second slice. That actually was almost a buff because of how that also synergizes with the rest of the class. Obviously, it's not 0 mana anymore, but you didn't care because of the next card, Skull of Gul'dan, which was nerfed in 24 hours.
Yes. Okay.
So it's funny. This card, how do I?
You're gonna have to explain this one to me. You're gonna have to explain this one to me.
Okay. So Skull of Gul'dan was tied with the most expensive card in your deck. The biggest problem with Skull of Gul'dan and the concern that you might have had is like you may not get the outcast for it, because if you played a 5 mana draw 3, you're entirely right, it was not really worth it. But the great thing about Skull of Gul'dan in the deck that you were playing was that you were very easy to manipulate that to the left side of your hand, which means you're reducing 9 mana, potentially up to 9 mana, I should say. And that enabled the Altruis Wombo combo dream of just going, I'm dropping Altruis, maybe it costs 0 mana, and I'm just gonna play 20 cards in a row, and you're just gonna die. So Skull of Gul'dan not only was great with that, but also all of a sudden your Kane costs 1 mana. All of a sudden your Antaens cost 2 mana. And even if you took a tempo loss, because of the cards that Demon Hunter had available to it, you were getting that back. Skull of Gul'dan was nerfed to 6 mana, was still one of the best cards in the deck by far, and saw play consistently until it finally rotated out. Skull of Gul'dan was also one of the biggest all-stars when it came to the rest of the Demon Hunter decks that I'm not showing you in this video. This card was so fucking stupid. I don't know who thought 5 mana for 9 mana reduction was fine, but like, thanks Blizzard, like, great. The worst part was too, and I'm not understating this, if you scalded Gul'dan into another skull, like, oh my fucking god.
I didn't even think about that. Like, oh my god.
It was so illegal. Like, there are moments where like, oh, you're like, oh, I'm fine. Altruis gets played, Skull of Gul'dan gets played, your whole board's wiped, you're taking infinite damage, and they're still drawing cards. Like, it was, oh my god. Yeah, it was disgusting.
I hear the PTSD.
It was so gross. It was so gross.
Oh my god, you just uttered out. Everyone watching this video feels your pain on that.
If you, like, people, god, it was only 24 hours for 5 mana, so I don't know, remember how many people actually remember how disgusting it was. It was again, egregious. But at 6 mana, like, it was still so good. And there are like, I'm talking about getting top deck Kane. There's nothing worse than getting top deck Scald, because then it's already in outcast position. And funny enough, in aggro, or like whatever this tempo variant you want to call it, it was actually just correct to keep it in your opening hand, because you just wanted to move it to the left side of your hand and then you play it immediately.
Exactly. Yeah.
So card was disgusting.
That's so interesting.
It was, oh my god, it was not okay. It was not okay. All right, Blade Dance. I think I told you all 4, right?
You've said all 4. Yeah, you've said all 4.
So Skull,
I got 2 out of 4. Not bad. 2 out of 4. Not bad.
We're not done yet though. Okay.
Oh no.
Blade Dance is a card that really saw a huge rise of play as more cards were added for Demon Hunter. The next set and the set after Darkmoon Fair, Skullman's Academy and Darkmoon Fair enabled more attack from your from Demon Hunter cards, and it allowed you to clear boards that were ridiculous. Like, I'm talking 10 health, and you didn't even care because you're still gonna kill their minions, smack them in the face. Like, I'm telling you, bro, like, Ashen Badlands was a problem. But like, Demon Hunter did not see play that entire year, and it ended up being like the best deck of the World Championship. Not necessarily because of Blade Dance, but very disgusting card. At some point, they finally nerfed it to 3 mana. At 3 mana, you could argue it was still fine. It definitely did not see as much play because obviously the difference between 2 and 3 is massive, but it was still a very good tempo swing, and that's what Demon Hunter is known for, and it was absolutely disgusting. Last but not least, Crimson Sigil Runner. This card was nerfed to eventually to be a 1 mana 1/1. The biggest problem with this card, it would be able to trade up as well as draw you a card, because most of the 2 drops had 2 health. So not only are you playing arguably the best 1 drop with no downside, because most of the time you're playing this for drawing the card, it also synergized extremely well with Altruis and Skull, because even if you do draw this card from your Skull of Gul'dan, it is 0 mana draw a card. That's not bad when you're just trying to kill your opponent as fast as possible with Altruis. But yeah, this is like the best deck of all time in Hearthstone. Nothing has gotten remotely close to the powerfulness of this deck, as far as I'm aware. And they probably learned their biggest lesson. So throwback to what Death Knight was, this conversation, you could see like they didn't want the same thing to happen, where Death Knight comes into the game and just absolutely destroys everything, because you can make the conversation of like, people stop playing the game because of Demon Hunter. That's the issue of what Death Knight came to be. I don't think what Death Knight was when it was released, that it was anywhere close to the design mistake that Demon Hunter was. I can't call it a design mistake. I'm obviously extremely salty because it fucking ruined the game for me for a while.
Yeah, sure.
But Death Knight was designed like much better, like much more fair, much more fun to play with and against. Demon Hunter, like, oh my god, go fuck yourself.
Awesome. Great. Now I know how you felt after I showed you tier. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I wonder which one's worse in terms of our own respective games. I guess yours was over by turn 1. Like, at least we got to play the game a little bit before we died.
No, we actually, tier, you actually got to play the game a bit, which is that's the reason why people look back on it so fondly, is because it had so much turn 0 interaction that, like, even if you didn't go first, like, you could still play the game. And like, that's like a high that everyone's always going to be chasing. And funny enough, is actually, we think, influencing design of new cards, because so many newer cards allow for like you to play, if you lose the die roll, like going second. Like, it'll be like, oh, if your opponent activates a monster effect, like summon this and do this thing. That's all thanks to tier, because tier, so that way it's like you're getting more play in that like first couple turns of the game, which is where Yu-Gi-Oh is played essentially. So It's interesting. Yeah, it'd be really funny to put Demon Hunter versus Tyr as like a as like a video. Like, there's no way that would work, obviously. But I'm curious what the comments think, for people who know Hearthstone and Yu-Gi-Oh, what they think is worse.